a pleasure to be here, and always a pleasure to have you out there listening and watching. I got a rare group on this program. This is not the regular panel show, but I'm going to tell you, these people are raring to go. We've had a pre-programmed discussion about the casinos, basically about gambling. It's not gaming, it's gambling. Casinos are a place where you stop by, leave your money, go home. You might feel good about it, but generally speaking, there's not too much entertainment when you lose money. What is gambling about? What is this whole business about? It's about taking money from people, let's face it. People who have casinos, run gambling operations, are in it to make money. And we're going to get an overview of, a real good perspective of that in general. And we're going to talk about the proposed casino for the south end of Fall River, which at this point seems in jeopardy, that it might not materialize. So let's get to my guests, and CJ, a familiar face of my programs. I wonder sometimes whose program this is.
I know, really. I mean, today this is like a comedy show around here.
Yeah. Stephanie, you've been on a number of times. How are you doing?
Very good, Richard. Thanks for having me on.
What's new with Stephanie?
All kinds of things. Everything. Every day something new.
All right.
Have you talked to Lizzie lately?
No, but she doesn't speak to me either. I'm not crazy.
All right. And we have Joe Carvalho, ran
Thank
for
you for
mayor. Made a great effort.
Thank you.
Might see you again running for the mayor's job, Joe?
Could be, yes.
Could be.
We'll see.
Well,
We got a could be out of him.
We got a could be.
A could be is better than, I think, a maybe. So, anyway, the mayor had his presentation a couple of weeks ago, brought some people in. There was a big table full of some of the important people, so to speak, in the city of Fall River. Had the fire chief there, had the police chief, the superintendent of schools. They didn't really say much of anything if they said anything. But then he had Mr. Scott Butera from Foxwoods. Apparently he's the one that's pushing to have a casino in the south end of the city of Fall River. And there were a few other people like Clyde Barrows from the University of Massachusetts. Mr. Barrows seems to be a person who never saw a casino he didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
That's because he's funded by the casino interests. That's where his money comes from for his
Exactly.
He
studies.
works at the University of Massachusetts.
Yep.
Mhm.
Isn't that a gigantic conflict of interest of some sort?
Yep. It certainly is a gigantic conflict of interest, but it's never mentioned as a conflict of interest.
All right, we won't say it on this program.
Okay. So the conflict of interest is no longer a conflict of interest. All right.
Well, I think that any time he's introduced, his research should have a caveat, and it never is.
It never does, yeah.
I'm always curious about his name. You know, Clyde Barrow.
Yeah, where's Bonnie?
That's, you know, he's got to be related somehow.
Okay, that's a pun on a man's name. Now, the presentation.
You call that a presentation? That
Well,
was a floor
you
show.
know,
That was a floor show, come on.
It was a bad floor show.
It was a really bad floor show. That was a bad comedy act, ever you've seen one.
Mr. Butera was there. He made his presentation, but he had to leave early. Well, let me put it this way. Let's get to the point of this. A lot of people do not like the site for the casino. Let's put aside for the moment whether you're pro-casino or for a casino, whether you think gambling is okay or not. But the site itself, Joe, what do you think about that site in the south end of Fall River in a congested area?
Well, I think, you know, a lot of the citizens who were residents of that area brought up a lot of good points. Unfortunately, Mr. Butera left before the public had any opportunity to question him or pose their concerns. You know, one of the things he left out too was that the day before, the hearing was on, or the dog and pony show, if you will, was on March 20th, and March 19th, 65 people were laid off from the Foxwoods casino. And I'm not going to call what they want to put in Fall River a resort destination. That's like calling the dump a landfill. okay? It's a casino. It's designed to take your money, period, and take it out of this city, period.
He was asked, Stephanie, about the financial stability of Foxwoods.
And he made a very strange comment, too. He said, "We are a victim of our own success."
Well, yeah,
That was the strangest comment
sort of
that I ever
an
heard.
oxymoron,
Yeah.
when you think of the fact that there was not quite a success because they were having financial difficulty.
Absolutely. They're having financial difficulties, and before that meeting, they had laid off 60. After that meeting, they let off, 100
Another
more
100.
people. So their financial situation is not as rosy as they're making it out to be.
And a state senator, a couple of state senators, and State Representative Dukayam sent to the Gaming Commission
Okay, now from what state?
from Massachusetts,
Massachusetts.
sent to the Gaming Commission a detailed cause of why they should not be granted status as a casino vendor. And I mean, it included financial mismanagement, embezzlement, theft by the tribal employees, theft by the tribal members, convictions, payoffs, failure to honor host agreements were all part of it. And the Gaming Commission still went, they're okay.
They're okay. Now, since then, things have changed a little. The Mashpee, Wampanoags are still, matter of fact, they feel they're in a better position now to have a casino, possibly in the Taunton area. The mayor of New Bedford, John Mitchell, said that they got the extension that he asked for, and he's saying that we're still, thinking or wanting to have a casino in New Bedford area. And there was another proposal or a suggestion of some sort that in Bridgewater, there's upwards of 173 acres,
37 acres.
137 acres.
There's behind the scenes happening that none of us know about. That's always the case in any big decision like this. But a clue that something's going against Fall River in this casino debate is the fact that the commission changed a couple of dates, deadlines, and possibly the amount of money required for the investment of said casino into a community from $750 million down to, wasn't it?
$500 million.
$500 million.
Well, I thought it was 500 million to begin with.
No, it was 750.
Well, no, that was a proposal in this area for the
Right.
Harbor Mall area, but
Oh, the minimum was 500 million,
Right,
and now they're
true.
going down to 375.
Right.
But the dates are now changing. So the commission is accommodating further competition, which tells you a lot about the mayor's big plans for Fall River. They're not as firm or as positive in reality.
Well, then they're not as firm as positive at all because Foxwoods isn't signing the host agreement. With the dates being extended, because the host agreement was supposed to be presented to the city council last night.
Right.
It was not presented. And that meeting went until almost midnight. And the reason it wasn't presented is because Foxwoods isn't going to sign it. The reason being that once Foxwoods signs that host agreement, Foxwoods has to start paying. And the mayor was dependent upon that money to make his budget work. Now he's got to rework his budget because that money from Foxwoods isn't coming in.
now the proposal for that area in the south end of Fall River, which looks like it could be on life support as we speak, but they said that there would be 2,000 jobs created with an average pay of $30,000. And to do quick math, we're talking of $60 million payroll. Is this a little far-fetched?
Well,
Well,
it started
it-
at 8,000 jobs, didn't it?
They fudged the numbers because, whatever Butera's getting, and I imagine it's in excess of $2 million a year to be the CEO of Foxwoods, if not more than that. So that gets entered into the equation. That gets averaged with people, and the casinos that were proposed for Revere, and what was the other place they submitted?
Springfield?
Well, no, it was another Boston venue. But the jobs that they posted, that they had to post, $18,000 a year for a full-time job. $18,000 for a full-time job. So if a third goes in taxes, Let me see you live on 12,000.
So nowhere near 30,000.
No.
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 No. And the bulk of the jobs, when you look at the bulk of the jobs, the vast majority of the jobs are in those low-paying fields. And
Custodians.
Beverage servers, those types of things. You know,
Custodial
it's not,
Waitresses.
Yeah.
I mean, they usually operate on tips. A waitress, bartender, valet parking. you're not getting-
Subsidized by people who use them, by the way.
Yeah.
They make below minimum wage, and then their salaries are subsidized by you and me.
tips.
Tips,
Yeah.
Right.
right. So
it's not
there's
a
more money
$30,000
expended. Yeah.
a year
No, it's
job.
not.
No.
No.
Payroll-wise, you're
No.
not getting.
No.
And even at the presentation, they said, our friend from UMass Dartmouth,
Friend,
your friend, not mine.
not my friend, said that the average wage for a casino worker is between $50,000 and $60,000 a year. And it's not unheard of for them to make $70,000 a year.
Yeah, they take a couple of
and I was like,
hard
what did you
dealing
do there? I mean,
courses.
they're taking all the pit bosses and, that type of deal. But, you mentioned the location. And you and I have had this
Well,
conversation.
because people in the South End, I listen to them, I live in the South End, I'm not in the Maplewood area, but it's considered a different area. I know people there, you know people, I'm sure the rest of you
Sure.
know people there. And they say, how can you put a casino here? It'll jam up the streets, it'll jam up our
right by a
neighborhood."
school.
They'll work it out.
Several schools.
They'll work it out.
Well,
a
that's-
certain individual, a very high ranking, said that the city will work it
Well,
out.
Mr. Fiola said that.
That's right, Mr. Fiola said it.
It's public knowledge.
It is, yep.
He said right there, and he said
He
this
said,
will be
well,
worked
we'll
out,
use
it'll be worked
Stafford
out."
Road for deliveries at a casino that's open 24 hours a day.
Right.
I'm sure the people along that area will be very happy to see semis go by there at 3 and 4
But not
o'clock in the
only
morning.
that, Kenny Fiola has said he chose that site. He sold that site. And he didn't care about the south end of Fall River.
He doesn't live in the south end of
You know
Fall River.
why? Because by putting it in the south end, it stays out of the north end and away from his house.
Yep.
And let's get down to it. Nobody in the north end wanted it. Nobody in the Highlands, nobody in the north end wanted the casino there. They didn't even want it down at Weaver's Cove.
Well, if you go up to that area, Tucker Street and the Avenue, you've got the signal lights. You go there right now. It's not easy to
No.
to get by. You got to
Sure.
wait for the signal. A lot of cars. In the daytime, you have more cars, and they're talking, they said, Joe, 20 to 25,000 cars a day. How in the world? I mean, they're not going to change every single road.
No.
People are going to come from Quikasham Street or Koorey. They're going to come from down on Globe Street, and they're not going to use the highway. They're going to weave through the side streets. What seems to be?
Well, and the idea too that this resort destination again, a casino,
Yeah.
is going to somehow attract people to then decide that they want to shop in Fall River.
So people are not going to go over the Braga Bridge to the Cape like they usually do. They're going to just spin off the highway and rush up to that resort casino.
Well, and even if they do go to the casino, they're going to go to the casino in their cars or on a bus, like people from Fall River go to Foxwoods. And when they're done at the casino, they're going to get back into their cars or on the bus and go home.
Yep.
Exactly.
They are not going to stick around here. I don't care how many vouchers Kenny Fiola wants to give to people to induce them to spend money in Fall River. That's not going to happen.
The Foxwoods gentleman insulted us twice in his presentation. I was insulted when he said, we want to make Fall River a great city. Okay, you insulted the city of Fall River right there. And the second thing he said was, we want to make the casino, the resort casino, Fall River's new Main Street. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We have a Main Street. We have a Main Street that requires revitalization. We don't need it to be at the corner of 24. That's not the center of the town.
But I think what people are missing in this presentation, and I was not at all supportive of this presentation, is the fact that they used every marketing ploy created. It came right out of Casino Marketing 101.
Oh, sure.
It really did. All right? Initially, it was a $750 million casino with 5,000 to 8,000 jobs.
Yep.
Then it became a $500 million casino with 2,000 to 3,000 jobs. Okay?
And the rendering was the same one that they used
Right.
at the last location.
They didn't even bother to spend any money on making a new rendering for this casino.
Yep.
They used the one for, what was
Milford?
that? Milford.
Do you think it was a very weak presentation? I mean,
Yes.
he didn't stay long.
Weak was an understatement. I mean, Scott Butera made his statements. He answered the questions from the mayor only, got up and left. God only knows why he had to leave. And then he put the architect in to talk for the casino, and the man knows nothing about the casino.
He knew nothing about the city of Fall River,
Right.
too.
I'm just the architect.
And he said it was supposed to be a representative of his organization.
Right.
The architect is not. And he kept, I kind of felt embarrassed for the architect because he was kind of put in a dubious position of trying to answer questions. Not that he did answer any of them, about the nuts and bolts of what's going on here.
And they contradicted
when it
themselves,
comes to
too.
logistics, he wasn't the one to speak to it.
No.
Is that what you're saying? He's
Exactly.
an architect, draw up the building.
They contradicted themselves. Somebody asked a question about property values going up, or will they go down? Well, either way, you sort of lose because if the property value, and we got two different answers.
Right.
If the property values go down, you'll be underwater with your mortgage. If the property values go up, you owe more in taxes. So what is and Clyde Barrow had a different answer
Yes.
than the mayor had an answer.
Correct.
And it was completely opposite answer.
Well, Butera said that in some locales, when they've put a casino in, the property values have gone up. So that made me think, as a taxpayer in this city, and I just paid my real estate tax bill, my taxes are going to go up if my property values are going up. Then exactly, when Mr. Barrow was asked about that, oh no, the taxes are not going to go up. So that was my question too, was, listen, I heard one person say that our property values may go up, which means increased tax rate that we're going to be paying. And on the other hand, Mr. Barrow talked about them not going up.
Well, let me ask you this, CJ. What happens to businesses around?
They're screwed.
They
Pawn
died.
shops go in.
You have this
We got lots of
casino,
pawn shops.
Obviously, is in a very residential business area, a lot of small businesses around. What happens to the business?
They go out of business. They go out of business. If you look at the
So
road.
A1 Pizza should say, look,
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
don't
yeah.
should anybody stop here, just go up a few
There's
blocks,
no
just stop in.
reason,
at,
no reason
The
for anybody
buffet.
to
Yeah.
leave.
Get a nice buffet.
Right.
They're
big
talking
spoon.
20 restaurants.
No, 10
And-
now. 10 now.
Oh, now it's 10.
And if Mark Archambault, the reporter for the Boston Globe, is being accurate in his reporting about casinos in Massachusetts, formerly wrote for the Providence Journal for 10 or 15 years, and said that Foxwoods and Mohegan Sun have been the two most aggressive casinos in the United States going after people who they've extended credit to. They extended $35,000, Foxwoods extended $35,000 in credit to an 80-year-old man from Massachusetts. And that's where the bill went, to $35,000. Now, well, he's since passed away. He died at 84. His heirs are now liable because there's a lien on his house.
Yeah, it's a
By
dead
a
Put
casino.
liens
Yeah.
on people's homes. And what Mark Archambault had written was that nowhere except Connecticut have any casinos been as aggressive about that as Foxwoods and Mohegan Sun have been.
Now, I've got this, this was given to me a while back. I read it cover to cover. It's a report from the Council on Casinos. I don't know if anyone is familiar with it. It's for the Institute for American Values, and this was done up recently, 2013. Now, I read the portion where it mentions the slot machines, those little nasty things that. what
Those
it
little
says here-
crack machines is what they really are.
I mean, what it says here, you can't beat them.
Nope.
No, you can't.
No,
And
the
you
house
have
always
this
wins.
master server, and I guess all the slot machines are hooked into the master server. So if you're making a few dollars, the next couple of plays, you're going to lose a few dollars.
That's
So,
right.
in other words, it seemed to be saying that anyone who plays a slot machine is going to walk away losing some money, but they'll give you a few. They'll give you a few wins to keep you to play a little more. But overall, the slot machines are programmed.
They want you to lose.
What
And-
kind
and the
of
thing is-
So they can make money. It's the business model.
Let's put this in perspective with the government. The government knows this.
Yep.
Why does the government support casinos if it knows the casinos are not really in operation for the best interest, the welfare, and the public health of the citizens?
It's like
of,
the
say,
lottery.
Massachusetts?
It's like the lottery. It's the idiot tax, okay? You go to the lottery tickets, you buy the lottery tickets, you pay $1, you pay $5, $10. We're now going up to, I think, a $30 lottery ticket.
Yeah.
And people are going to be buying these, okay? And they're willingly giving away their money to the state. All right?
However-
what they're doing with casinos, they're doing the same thing. They're willingly giving the money away to a casino. And the casino does have to give a percentage, approximately in most cases 25%, to the state. And those casinos are, the payouts are set by state law, okay? In some states, they're as high as 76% for how much the casino can keep. In other states, they're even higher at 83.
Okay, you brought up the lottery, and I know it's his favorite subject of yours. Whether if you're for gambling or not, when you scratch a ticket or you play the lottery, the money goes to the state.
Scratch-offs go
And
to
it-
the
and it-
state,
and it-
right? And
some
it
of the
comes
money
back
comes
to the
back
community.
to the community.
Right.
And
The state runs the gambling.
whether you're for gambling
Yes.
or not,
Yes.
a little money comes back.
Yep.
Now, a casino comes to town, and people scratch less tickets. They play less lottery because
Absolutely.
they're spending the money at the casino. I think that's just plain common sense.
Correct.
Yep.
You only have so much to spend. You spend $50 here. In a casino, you don't have the 50 to scratch. your
Right.
ticket. Now,
Yep.
to add to that, that money then goes into private hands.
Exactly.
It's not state money, so it's never going to really
Exactly.
come back into the community.
It's flying out of Fall River.
Yep.
Right.
And going to Malaysia.
Well, why is I know what you just said.
The casinos do pay
It's a
a certain,
tax.
right,
But where do they make the money to pay the taxes?
on the,
From you and me spending our money at a casino
Casino,
and losing
right.
it.
Have to take
It goes
it
back.
from the people,
It's
from the
progressive.
community.
Yes.
It's a
first.
regressive
And
tax.
it's estimated that casinos get 85%, approximately 85% of their profits from only 15% of the gamblers. Those are people who have a real issue and problem with gambling. People lose their homes. People, the divorce rate goes up, the crime rate goes up, as
Embezzlement.
it did in Bangor, Maine. In 1 year, from the outset of the casino being in Bangor, Maine, the crime rate went up 22%. And despite what Clyde Barrow, who by his name alone should know something about crime, said that, that can't be attributed to the casino being there. Well, what is it? Something in the water, Clyde? Come on. People get more desperate. Listen, the states are in the position of a lot of people in Fall River that look at this casino as their pot of luck, pot of gold. Desperate. We get the lowest per
Poorer
capita
people?
income.
Usually poorer people. In other words, are they more vulnerable?
yes, they are.
People who are not as well educated, are they more vulnerable?
This is why
pie
Milford
in the
voted
sky.
against it,
And then
Richard.
it says here, where most of the money that the casino makes is from slot machines.
Yes,
Yep.
it is.
And the slot machines are rigged. Let's
They are
face it,
rigged.
They are rigged. You're not-
And it affects the person's brain using them the same exact way as crack cocaine. They have tested the brains of people pressing that button, doing that slot machine, and those on crack cocaine. It's the same
Yeah.
reaction.
60
It's
minutes.
And euphoria.
It's addictive on purpose.
60 Minutes did a piece on that, as a matter of fact.
Yep.
If you go to the archives of 60 Minutes, go online and pull up casinos and slot machines, it shows. It just showed it. This is what happens to people.
People get mesmerized and
And they're not putting the coins in anymore. It's that
No.
card.
Right.
You wave the card,
No more
they've got
change.
you.
Right.
And the thing
coins
is
coming
that,
out.
with most of the casinos, especially tribal casinos, all right, do not pay taxes on the table games. So poker, blackjack, baccarat, all of those table games, they don't pay taxes on. The deal they cut with the state is we pay the taxes on the slot machines. So what they try to do is they try to get all their people in to play the table games because that's money they're not going to pay taxes on. So the people that play the slot machines are the ones paying all the taxes.
So what you're saying is if a casino were in Fall River, they'd want their big players who play the table games to show up in Connecticut
Sure.
Right,
at the Indian
That's right.
right,
But
casino.
the other
So they
big-
don't have to pay taxes on the table games.
correct.
So over here, this is going to be geared if you.
It's gonna be a slot parlor.
It's a slot parlor,
As a
right.
business person, you say, well, I want all the machines over here. as many as
Exactly.
possible. And then you give all the little tidbits and enticements to, the seniors show up, here's a few vouchers,
Here's a free meal, here's a, here's a free lottery, free bet.
Free pizza, A1 goes out
Yeah.
of business because they don't want competition.
Right.
This whole jobs question, which has people who I know who, I don't care about gambling, I like gambling, it doesn't matter, but we need jobs in Fall River.
Why do we need jobs like that?
It is not the government's job to create jobs. It is the government's job to create a place where people want to live and spend their money. You don't have to have a business in order for that to happen. You have to have great quality of life and excellent schools. And that's what the city of Fall River keeps forgetting about. But it's right next to Tiverton. Who's to say any of the jobs are going to Fall River residents when they never, ever scoped out A.J. Wright with the TIF agreement and made sure that those jobs were Fall River jobs?
I saw a wonderful cartoon the other day. As a matter of fact, I was sort of instrumental in drawing it up. But you have this table, and you have all these bags of money. And the people who are working for the casino are taking all these bags of money and they're putting it into a truck or an airplane that's going somewhere. Not to Fall River.
Right.
Of course not.
It's going to California. The truck has got New York license plates. It's going to New York. So
Overseas.
the jobs that the people are working at the casino are jobs that they're doing to take money from the community and send it somewhere. So I ask you, intelligent panelists, my guests, why would we ever want something or a job like that takes money out of the community?
Well-
Because what casinos do is they set their sights on communities which are poor, endangered, and lacking in meeting their own basic needs, which Fall River is. And when you get a location like that, you can turn around and say, "We got jobs. We got jobs. We're going to give you jobs. We're going to increase your tax revenue. We're going to be able for you to pay your fire department and for you to pay your police department. We've got that, and we're going to bring it here to Fall River. Now, what are you going to give us to make it happen?"
But that's all with money that was ours
Smoke
to begin
and
with.
mirrors.
It's smoke and mirrors.
It was the money anyway in the community to begin with.
Exactly, it's here now, and people are spending the money here now at great restaurants and shops locally.
What happens to, we're running down to the end of the program. What happens quickly to the downtown, what happens to the waterfront? The casino ends up in the south end. Does
Oh.
it draw away massively?
You get massive doorways. There'll be
okay.
nothing. There'll be nothing.
All right.
And the worst part
Steve,
about it, the worst
got the
part
last-
about
you
it
got
is
the-
they're all
Joe-
Steve
Joe.
Wynn.
You got the,
Yes, Steve Wynn, who's in some people's minds is the devil incarnate, the Las Vegas maestro, said that the only way to make money at a casino is to own one. Period.
And he's right.
they asked a bank robber why he robbed banks. He says, well, that's where the money,
Money
is.
is.
That's what money is.
Okay, thank you for being on the program, CJ, Stephanie, Joe. I'd like to see you back in the race. Out there, thank you for watching, and don't forget May 17th, the VFW on Shove Street. We've got the Friends of Cook Pond Dinner Dance. Tickets are $15. Nice chicken dinner, all you can eat, coffee, cake, nice salad, and then after we're going to have dancing. So it's a wonderful time. Relaxing evening, $15. It's tough to go to a restaurant and get a meal like that these days.
And May 3rd, former Congressman Robert Steele, who lived 8 miles from Foxwoods and has written a book against gambling and casinos, is going to be in Fall River. We don't have the locale yet, but May 3rd, a Saturday night, 7 p.m.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Thank you out there for watching.